Welcome, my young apprentice. It's time to explore everything pop culture and everything science fiction and everything beyond the multiverse. Good. It's time to sharpen those lightsabers. Do it. It's time to shampoo your tauntaun. Do it. It's time to put a spit shine on your dark crystal. Do it. So pull up your favorite beanbag, remove those tendies from the air fryer, because this is PopXcast.
You are listening to PopXcast, where science fiction meets pop culture.
Here we go!
PopXcast.
I was born in it, molded by it.
PopXcast. No strings on me. Autobots, transform.
I'm Batman.
By the power of Grayskull. PopXcast.
We're doomed.
Goal here at Tyrell. More human than human is our motto.
Here's Johnny. Never had a pet pony. Hasta la vista, baby.
PopXcast.
Captain's log supplemental.
Negasonic Teenage. What the
I am the one who knocks.
Excelsior!
Excelsior. Oh my gosh. May the 4th be with you all. We specifically chose today to do today's show. We were going to do it on Sunday, and I was like, you know what? Let's just delay this 2 days and do it on May the 4th. Holy cow. May the 4th be with you all.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Yes. Speaking of Obi-Wan, he's out in the desert right now filming, if you will.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. So excited. Oh, gosh, guys, this is Star Wars Day. Happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you all. And this is PopX episode number 121 coming to you today on this very special Star Wars Day. But we can't forget what tomorrow is. Do you guys know what tomorrow is? It's
Cinco
the
de Mayo?
Revenge of the 5th. Yes.
Revenge of the 5th.
Revenge of the 5th. And it's also, get this, new comic book day at your local comic book store. So get out and get some comics.
Oh, yeah.
Every Wednesday.
Get it.
Yeah, go get some comics. Man, the chat room is hopping up. I want to say hello to Mr. Jive Pop and Barger. How you doing? Herb's Hangout. Herb on the Curb, who's down in Puerto Rico right now, enjoying an amazing hangout. Mike Rolane, what's up, my friend? And we got I Talk Marvel, who was already in the chat long before we began this show. He said
I saw him before the show, like putting like jackets and shirts and hats, saving seats for his whole family.
I'm like, what is he doing? He's like, me and my dad, we're watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I'm going to catch the last end of your show when you're talking about it. So I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as I can. So that is one dedicated subscriber right there.
Nobody take his seat.
I Talk Marvel 227, you are a rock star, bro. If you go back on the rewind and you watch this, may the 4th be with you.
Yeah.
But so how are you guys doing? How was your 2 weeks? Anything new and fun happening in your all's lives this week?
Just enjoying the spring weather. We've had a lot of hailstorms literally flying through, but
okay.
We've recovered and
Okay.
the sun still shines another day.
The sun
It's all
still
good.
shines. Okay. So you've had hell. You went through hell.
Yes.
Austin,
through
how
hell.
was your weekend, Austin?
You don't have
I
to
went
go
to
you don't have to go
I went to a bachelor party and we embarked on some treacherous adventures and we may have got kicked out of some places, but you know what? I'm here, I'm alive, and I'm feeling good, Joe. Barely.
Oh my
Did you find One-Eyed Willie's treasure?
We found treasure.
Oh,
I can't say what it was.
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
There's a lot of
Oh,
stories
boy.
to be told in that one. Oh my gosh, it's been crazy the past couple of weeks. But you tell what, we get to find time, sit down, make PopX Cast, and we get to talk about some cool nerdy things. Austin Burke, lead us off into the introduction of the show, if you don't mind.
Yes, I'm happy to be here. Welcome to PopX, where science fiction meets pop culture. I'm Austin Burke, the Appalachian geek at heart. We'd like to welcome everyone joining us live in the PopX.live chat room. You guys come and hang out with us. Join the conversation at PopXcast.com. And if this is your first time tuning into PopX, first off, subscribe to this channel. Second of all, first 15 minutes or so, we will run down the headlines since our last show, and then we're going to deep dive into all things nostalgic in this week's Retro Rewind. At the halfway point, we hit on the show's topic. I am so excited for today's show.
Me too. And I'm Joseph Burke.
I think that button's somewhere in that area down there.
There's
click it.
Just right,
yeah,
right
there's
there.
like, what is
Right
it like?
there.
That's below you. That's actually where you are, Lindsay. That's down in your neck of the woods down there. It's like
it's in this general area.
click on
of the screen.
well, you can't
down
actually
there.
click on one, but just go to one. That'd be great.
That's good. There's a thumbs up there too. You can accidentally click on that as well. That's
No,
cool.
don't accidentally. Do it intentionally.
Do it on purpose.
Do it.
Slam it twice if it counts.
Oh,
Hit
slam
it
it,
and then
slam it
quit.
in the cabinet door.
Slam
I
it
don't
5
give a damn.
times.
I don't know. Anyway, I'm Joseph Burke, Central Florida seasoned comic book nerd and retro enthusiast, and we're part of an amazing, unique collective known as the Creative Multiverse. You can find that group on Facebook by searching the Creative Multiverse. It's where a lot of cool people come together and make a lot of cool art and share some ideas along the way. Some new posts was up this week. Some pretty awesome art coming in from some people all across the world, so be sure to check it out. And so check that out. And you can also find us. We're also on Twitter. Use the tag @Artuary, which is part of the Creative Multiverse as well. So there we go. Yo.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my turn.
It sure enough is, sweetheart.
Again, all this time. My name is Lindsay Badger. They call me the favorite geeky yoki for some reason or another. It's probably because I'm geeky and I'm an okie.
You're an okie.
You put the two together, there you go. Your favorite geeky yoki.
I love
All right, so if you guys, for whatever reason, missed last week's show, episode 120, we watched and we came together and we had a very good long discussion about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series wrapping up, which was fantastic. And we also did a little retro rewind featuring The Princess Bride.
Indeed.
And talked about all the goodness that was in that. So if you missed that episode from last time we all got together, make sure you go to our official website at popxcast.com for that show and all of the other great past shows from the PopX Collective Archive.
Indeed. And also, too, all of our amazing people that are watching the stream right now on YouTube, be sure to share and like and click on that notification bell. We can't express that enough. But, the main thing is sharing this on your feed. You want to share this on your feed. So just copy the URL of the link here, or you can just go to popx.live, which goes directly here, which is kind of cool and convenient. And just share that on your page and on your Twitter accounts if you can. Help us get the word out about PopXcast, all right? Yeah. With all that said, you guys ready for some news this week?
Let's do it.
Let's dive into the world of news. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Extra, read all about it. This is PopX News, coming to you live right here on PopXcast.com.
Alrighty, I'm going to lead it out this week here. We have, while Marvel fans have had both WandaVision and The Falcon and the Winter Soldier in recent months, there's nothing quite like the movies after more than a year of staying home due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, people are heading back to theaters, and so is Marvel. On Monday, Marvel released an epic sizzle reel. Now, you guys saw this. You had to have seen this. You could not have went anywhere online and not have seen this. But they released this sizzle reel for its next Phase 4 offerings. And look at the slate of films heading into theaters in the next couple of years. Mike's got the graphics up for us right now. But while fans are amped to see new footage from Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings, and the very first footage from Marvel's Eternals, and even confirmation of the titles of Captain Marvel, The Marvels, or The Marvels, and Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Wow. Holy cow. Now, I seriously wish, guys, let's pause for a second. I really wish I could play you the clip of Stan Lee talking at the beginning of this sizzle reel.
Oh.
Yes.
Because it literally gut punched me in all the feels on Monday. I was sitting here and I was just drinking my morning cup of coffee, and all of a sudden I'm hearing Stan Lee. I'm like, I'm just like, lose it. I'm like a crying bubble because what they chose specifically and what he was saying was just so real and relevant to what we've been going through for the past year.
It gave me goosies.
It gave me more than the goosies. It was just...
And then, of course, after he stops talking, it shows Cap in all of the lineup right before that big battle and the big emotional swell, and he's like, assemble. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to
On your left. Oh, my gosh. Dude,
yeah, on your left. Yeah, there you go.
My
and it
gosh.
was like, oh.
So good. And
Take me back to the movies right now, please.
In case you've been hiding under a rock, you need to go watch this. It's real. I'm just saying.
It's
that right
fantastic.
Now. Austin, you even done a video on it, right? You actually did a full review.
Yeah. I watched it for the first time on camera, and I was expecting something for Eternals because that's kind of where everybody was going on Twitter, and I saw that footage and I freaked out. I mean, that was kind of the first time that we've gotten really anything other than I mean, we had the concept art and we had an idea, but Chloe Zhao, coming off her double Oscar win for director and best picture, is going to knock this movie out of the park. I mean, it felt like Dune. It has this epic Lord of the Rings style feel to it, man.
Right.
And I know this movie's going to be special. And then we get hit with the Wakanda Forever, and even the Marvels, right? We have, if you look at each logo, the S, Miss Marvel, and then we have, all three main characters represented just in that logo. So I think that is a great indication as to what's to come in that movie as well.
So good. I watched your review, like literally, after like the 7th time of watching the reel, I logged onto YouTube, and guess what? Austin Burke just posted a video on it. I was like, oh, I got to see. Now I got to watch it an 8th time because I wanted to see your reaction video, and it was awesome. So, but that was a really awesome. You need to go see it. I mean, we're so blessed to have 4 films in 2021.
Yeah. Going
into 2022.
Crazy.
I mean, Black Widow in July. We have Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings coming up later in the year. We have, what is it?
Spidey.
Spider-Man 3. Yeah. And there was one more. I'm missing one. Right?
Eternals.
The Eternals. Yeah.
Eternals.
Yeah, Eternals.
I thought you already said that. That's why I wasn't going to say it again.
But it's just, we weren't supposed to get that many this year. We were only supposed to get, what, 2 films?
2, I think. Yeah.
2, like, and then look at 2022. I mean, it feels like
it's
one.
Packed too.
It's packed. It's March,
There's
April,
like 4
May,
every
June,
year.
July, August, September. It's crazy how much Marvel.
It kind of
content.
feels like 2017 when Marvel had 4 in the year that year.
Yes.
It was like Ant-Man, and it was a crazy year for films.
Plus the TV shows we're getting next year, guys. We're going to have new Marvel content every single week next year.
Anything past 12 months, I'm always skeptical because something always happens that gets pushed back, even 6 months out, if there's not like an official trailer out for that movie, I don't even hold my breath on it until then.
Yeah. No, I agree. Well,
I mean, we're still waiting on Batman. We talked about that, 6 years ago?
It's true. The Batman. Yeah, you're right. All right, moving on here. Austin, you've got Sony Entertainment. What are they doing?
Yeah, well, Sony Interactive Entertainment has announced that it will integrate Discord, the popular digital communication service. I have a Discord server. Into PlayStation's social experience early next year. As to what that looks like exactly, the details are a little vague. President and CEO Jim Ryan stated that the goal is to bring the Discord and PlayStation experiences closer together on the console and mobile starting early next year, allowing friends, groups, and communities to hang out, have fun, and communicate more easily while playing games together. So this is a huge merger of 2 very popular.
That's really cool.
It is. It's awesome, and I love the concept and just kind of applying this to gaming. It's like the perfect marriage for me, Joe. What do you think about this?
I as a live streamer, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to my personal YouTube channel, but I've been doing a heck of a lot of Call of Duty live streaming lately, and Discord is like at the heart of everything that you do, because not only can you like send messages to your friends via the mobile app or whatever, it also has the voice chat capability, and a lot of users love to dial into that so they can actually communicate with other players instead of using the voice server of the console or the network that they're playing on. Most people
don't. Video integration in there now.
They've got
too?
everything. Yeah, and Discord gives a lot of
Super
functionality.
familiar with Discord.
And so it's really interesting. And I know Austin, he even has a Discord for Flick Fan Nation as well. And so it's really, I think PopX has one, but we haven't utilized it as effectively as we should be. And we probably should get on that. Shame on us for not getting onto that. But it's just really cool because it allows a lot of gamers. I know big, heavy streamers like Dr. Disrespect and Z-Laner and a lot of those guys.
It's like a staple for major Twitch
That's the only way they get
and-
on. And because, you know, without using the voice server of your console, PlayStation or Xbox, or without using the voice server of the game, Call of Duty's voice servers, you're actually using a very high-end voice server, kind of like what you would hear here on YouTube, where you're hearing the full microphone, you're hearing the full volume of the voice, and it's just really awesome. So I'm definitely on board with this. I can't wait to see what they do with this. And this is going to really hurt Xbox.
That's what I was thinking. I was going to ask you, Joe, what does this do to Xbox, right? Because we know PlayStation is already kind of taking these steps up, man. This is going to be bad for us.
I'm telling you. It's going to be interesting to see. And I do want to say one quick thing while we're on the vein of PlayStation. The Badger household has happily acquired a PlayStation 5.
We have.
So I just want to give shout outs to Mr.
That
Badger.
is quite a feat because they are still very, very, very hard to find.
Well, on that note, Lindsay, you've got the next news article.
Awesome. Well, we are going to talk a little Netflix, and Cobra Kai just wrapped production of their next
already. Already?
Yes, the series star William Zabka went to social media to celebrate sharing a pair of behind-the-scenes photos, and he said, "After 3.5 months of production, I am proud to say that # Cobra Kai Season 4 is officially wrapped.
Wow.
Ready?
Nice. Wow.
Let's begin."
Dude, it feels like we just finished Season 3.
Seriously, it does.
Yeah,
That's
he wrote this
crazy.
on Twitter. Cobra Kai is one of the several series Netflix has previously confirmed to be released later this year. Their release dates pushed back from this spring due to the effect of COVID-19 lockdowns. And felt throughout television and the film industry. So I'm glad that the industry's starting to come back to life. Do you guys feel it? Do you feel the energy, the buildup of
I'm telling you right now.
it's like the resurrection of entertainment has
there-
arrived.
You can feel it in the air. The palpability is there. When Black Widow drops this July the 9th.
Tonight.
7th. Is it the 7th or the 9th? I think it's the 9th.
Yeah, I think it's the 9th. Yeah.
It is going to be so good because I am going to be excited to go back to the theater. I don't want to watch this on HBO Max or Disney Plus. I want to go to a cinema. I want to hear that surround sound HDX.
Yes.
You know, I'm all about it. So
I am
take my
in
money.
love with Cobra Kai. So this is like fantastic news for me. I'm so excited to see
Freaking Cobra Kai. And you know what, PopX, we're going to be right here to review Season 4. We're going to be right in the middle because we reviewed Season 2 as well.
Yeah.
Three.
And you know, Stranger Things isn't too far out either.
Stranger Things is in October, I do believe.
Yeah.
Well, this is what's crazy for me is just, I guess it's just special effects for Stranger Things, right? Because the turnaround time for this is so fast, right? Stranger Things has been in production for almost 2.5 years. This thing is just now, and it's expected to come out this year or early January, which is wild.
Yeah, they're
Dude,
cranking it.
I'm telling you, Stranger Things, I think there was such a delay, though, between Season 3 and 4.
There was. Yeah.
And it almost feels like Stranger Things may have lost a little umph in the pop culture world.
It's almost gotten forgotten because there's so much time lapse, I would
Well,
think.
there's in the
That's what I
continuity. And
feel.
then also the pandemic has kind of overshadowed it a lot, too. You know?
For sure.
So, but anyway.
Let's
I
go.
digress.
Let's do it.
All right. Last one of the night, and then we're going to get right on into some of the show topics, the Retro Rewind. We are going to be, John Delancey is apparently filming 2 seasons of Star Trek Picard. Now, the actor isn't great at keeping secrets from his cameo fans and tipped off the audience to his return as Q in Star Trek Picard before the official announcement of the first contact day. Q is coming back. Holy cow. Q is coming back.
That's amazing.
Delancey said, "As a matter of fact, in the last 2 weeks, I have been filming on Picard and really annoying Picard. Really annoying him." And Patrick was delighted to see for the first couple of days. After a couple more days, really annoying scenes, he said, so how many episodes are you doing? In other words, when you are going to get out of my face, essentially, is what Picard was saying. And the answer is 6 episodes. Q is going to be in
That's
6
fantastic.
episodes. Now, I think they're going to be coming out eventually, but he went on to say, we are shooting season 2 and season 3 all at the same time. So there's going to be continuity there. So Picard fans, CBS All Access, get ready.
Yes.
You're going to get season 2 and 3, and it's going to be awesome.
Nice.
Thoughts on Q?
I will say I think this show is really underrated, and it's so surprising because everybody was so excited when Patrick Stewart came back, and I love him. But I just feel like nobody's talking about the show like they should be. Have you watched it? I think it's really good.
I've watched the first 4 episodes, and I kind of had a. I was loving what I was watching because it was definitely a darker, grittier, more adult form of Star Trek. For sure. And I enjoy the futuristic feel of Picard because it felt so organic and part of the things. But I didn't finish it. And I only had a trial of CB All Access for like 7 days. Yeah. So that's the thing, is I don't have access to it specifically. Mm-hmm. If there's a way that I can acquire Picard or watch it, if it ever has, well, it's not Disney, so it's not going to come to any of the major platforms anytime soon, like Hulu.
Well, I think it's a big part of that big Paramount Plus launch, which I don't have Paramount Plus either.
I
but
don't
apparently
have access to it.
They're going to start cranking out crazy original shows, so I may need to look into that. But this is one of the marquee ones, so I'm really hoping that gets off the ground, man. Because again, this is a show that
It has.
I mean, even I
potential.
I didn't talk about it on my channel, and that just kind of goes to show maybe I should have said more.
I watched the first season all the way through, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the upcoming seasons. And I feel like though you're reintroducing the old characters into a new storyline, it fits and it works.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like it's just being like, crammed in there just for fan service. I mean, some of it obviously is going to be, but I can't wait to see how Q, because I mean, Q is an immortal.
Yeah, he is.
And so it makes sense in this timeline that he would come across paths because he's so infatuated with Picard the entire time he was part of the Federation, and now he's coming back into the limelight. It only makes sense because he was a fantastic antagonist.
He was.
During the entire Next Generation series.
I just remember seeing him in that like Joker-looking outfit all the time, just annoying the hell out of Jean-Luc Picard. It was crazy.
He was just like a little gnat in his face the
So
entire
good.
time.
So
Great,
good.
though.
Takes me back to the early 90s in my youth. But moving on with the show, guys. You know what next? You know what's up next? You know what's up next? You ready to do the truffle shuffle? Anybody ready to do the truffle shuffle? Well, I hope you got your baby roost ready. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to dive down the Retro Rewind. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere on the Retro Rewind. Yeah.
Retro Rewind. Retro Rewind. Retro Rewind.
Retro Rewind. This week we are talking about Steven Spielberg's classic, The Goonies. Holy cow.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
I had a blast to watch this probably for the 20th time this weekend because I just wanted to go back and watch it. Man, what a film. I'm telling you. Steven Spielberg just had a way of totally surpassing the parent aspect of a film and focusing the camera lens on the child. I just love everything he did, from E.T. to The Goonies.
Yes.
I mean, and beyond. Just how he did a lot of his story. He didn't want to give the parents too much limelight, and that's why you don't really see a lot of parent type people in this. Other than the mother, you don't really see the father until the end, right?
Right.
So it's really interesting. But The Goonies is just a band of misfits that come together to find and hopefully maybe find something along the way that's kind of hidden, that was right there beneath their feet all along. So this is a classic film. It is definitely one that I do watch probably at least once a year. I'm not going to lie to you. This is definitely right up there with Ferris Bueller. 1985 was just a magical year for me. 1985 was when Back to the Future was in the box office in the summer. We had the Goonies. I mean, you just think about that time frame in which this came out. You're right in the cusp in the heart of the 80s. And might I add, a very young Thanos walking around. Oh man, I want to stop harping on it. I want to pass the baton to the film critic himself, Mr. Austin Burke. Austin, tell us a little bit about the Goonies, man.
Yeah, so it's funny, even one of my best friends, Samuel, who may be watching this at some point. I told him we were doing this, but that is his favorite movie of all time. That Jurassic Park, The Goonies. He's in love with that film, right? So even those my age and some of the younger generation, they'll go back to The Goonies and hold it. It's not a film that I necessarily grew up with like everybody else, but it is a film that I like to go back and revisit because I think out of maybe all the films that we've talked about, it captures the spirit of the 80s almost the best because you have the touch of a Richard Donner, you have the touch of a Steven Spielberg, you have the touch of a Chris Columbus who helped write the script, who also wrote Harry Potter. And that guy is really, or the first two movies, but that guy is really known to create magical characters and on the young side, right? So we assemble this crazy cast that comes together and goes on this magical quest. And it's such a fun time. And revisiting this for the first time in probably about a year and a half, 2 years, it just, every time I watch it, it feels like I'm watching it for the first time. And that's kind of like the magic that it holds. And then you look at the cast, Joe, you mentioned Josh Brolin and Sean Astin.
Corey Feldman.
I love in this movie. I love so much. And it's just a stacked cast with a great just set of relationships, every character working off of each other. And then you get to the ending and just the emotion. That's one thing Spielberg's really great at, is bringing emotion out of his characters. And I thought his writing here was incredible. So I think this movie is as good as advertised. I don't hold it maybe as high as some other people because there are some things about it. I'm just like, okay, but it doesn't matter. The magic, it's a classic 80s film, and it'll go down as one of the best coming-of-age stories I've ever seen.
There's a couple of parts of the story that kind of are like, a little convoluted. I'll give you that. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's about that whole heart element that you were talking about.
Yes.
Mike Ippolito, you wanted to share a little bit about the Goonies with us, buddy. You want to talk about the Truffle Shuffle? You want to talk about One-Eyed Willie's treasure chest?
One-Eyed Willie. This is one of those movies that it falls in right with, like you said, Ferris Bueller, and even with I guess it'd be another version of Never-Ending Story, where in that movie you got that fantasy, in space. Well, now this is another kid's fantasy to find buried treasure.
Yeah.
I mean, as an 80s kid, going out and riding bikes and, dreaming of finding hidden treasure,
Yeah.
Definitely.
And, just
pirates in general too,
Oh yeah, the whole pirates thing, finding a ship and just going on, was, I guess, would be a scary adventure,
Yeah.
But
what kind of moments from your childhood does the Goonies bring out? Is there some specific fun things?
Just overall, just being that 80s kid,
Yeah, absolutely. Lindsay Badger, the female perspective of Goonies.
The Goonies is just a good time.
Yeah.
It harkens back to your latchkey kid lifestyle, but it also harkens back to the time where you were forced to go outside and don't come back until the streetlights come on, right?
Exactly.
And you have to find ways to entertain yourself, and so you start to kind of have these groups of kids that come up with, you have to go explore. I lived out in the country. We did this all the time, Joe. That's what you did. You go out in the woods and you go get yourself in some trouble, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, it's very relatable on that level. Obviously, we didn't find any gold and treasure, but boy, I bet you when we were little kids, we were certainly looking for some, right?
That's right.
So, I absolutely love that that whole thing that captures the emotion and the mindset of that childhood moment. So you can always go back and revisit that. I also love the quirkiness of each individual character and all of their personalities and how unique they are. I mean, yes, you've got the truffle shuffle with, you know, Chunk and he's like bending into the ice bin, licking all the ice cream. I mean, that actually triggered me for a second. I was like, that is the most disgusting thing ever. And then if you remember not too long ago, there was teenagers going into grocery stores licking Bluebell ice cream, and it was like a big thing here recently, you know. So I mean, it still happens. It's just people just report on it.
Just a different
Anyways,
perspective.
that was a tangent.
Yeah, it was.
So,
It was good.
my favorite character of all the characters in this movie has to be Data.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because of all of his little contraptions and how creative he is. And he's
Data.
always, you know, inventing something on the fly. You never know what he's going to come up with next. And he's always, you know, he's the brainiac, but he's also a little quirky, you know. There's always stuff breaking and going wrong with him. So it's always enjoyable to watch him and figuring out and calculating everything constantly. So that was really fun. And then of course you have your little love story, which is cute.
Little triangle
but
there.
you know, there's no like huge digital special effects in this time. You know, that's all like the puppetry and the everything is man-made built. There's not any computer special like once they're in the water and they have that giant squid come out, and it is super fake. It's super fake. But I mean, it's part of the story, and you kind of look past that and you enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, the little things, if you can look over the technical details of it, because you know we're totally spoiled.
Yes, we
now
are. Yes, we
with
are.
all of the technology and the
CGI.
experience that's been, you know, taken level to level to level. And when you look back, there are some of those things that don't translate to modern day, but overall, it's a fantastic story.
You know, I couldn't agree more. There's a part of the inner child of me when I was in the woods, and I got to close my eyes because I'm like really recalling me walking through the hills of southeastern Kentucky, you know, and I would always have this old walking stick with me, and I would have this like handmade machete where I would go through and cut down the vines and the twigs and just explore something that I didn't even know what was on the other side of the mountain. And it brings out that inner childlike exploration in all of us. It doesn't matter if you're 20 years old or if you're 60 years old, and you watch this film with an open heart and open mind. There's a part of you that receives it in a way that brings out the inner child in all of us. And that's just the beautiful writing of Spielberg. And yes, there's parts of the story is kind of, you know, there's some consistency errors. I'll give you that. But at the end of the day, it's a great story, and one of my favorite parts is at the beginning, especially with the statue of David, and they're trying to the part broke off, and they're trying to put it back on, and they can't figure out what. It's so funny. But when I was watching it this weekend, so Alex hasn't seen this movie through and through with me, so I was watching it in the man cave this weekend, and she's like, and she came in because it's the scene where they're upstairs and the kids do not shut up. It is nonstop talking. Chunk is just going off the rails. And it's almost as if, I got to agree with John Parfenbarger over in the chat room, it's almost as if Spielberg said, just let them go and do improv and just give them all the stuff and just let them, and let's let the cameras roll and see what happens. And it kind of reminds me of that, you know, it's just that inner child that does not want to shut up and has so much energy and self-exploration.
It's like constant go.
Constant. But all in all, man, this is one of my favorite films, definitely from my childhood. You guys ready to give it a score?
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
For me, I'm going to have to go with a 7.9. I have to go with a 7.9. The only reason I didn't give it that one notch above the 8, again, it was some of that consistency, continuity stuff. But the nostalgia is 100% there. And for me, it's definitely one that I revisit often. It's definitely probably it is in my top 10 films of all time in the 80s. If you're on my Letterboxd, you'll see that. But I just want you guys to know it's a 7.9 for me. And so we'll go to Austin. What is your rating?
I think I'm going to go. I think I'm going to go flat 8. You know, it's hard not getting clouded and jaded by all of the incredible, CGI special effects we have now, and then going back to these movies, but looking at it through the lens of, seeing it for the first time in the 80s is something I try to do when I'm watching movies like this.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing what's happening in this film, and it's so magical, and it's unlike anything before it. And really, it's unlike anything after it. And how often can you say that about a movie, right?
Wow.
So, I mean, what movie has captured that specific magic since the Goonies? Maybe one or two, but not very many. So, hey, I'm going to go flat 8 with my score, man. I think this is like a definitive.
It is. It is. Yeah. It is. Lindsay Badger, what's your score?
Did Mikey not have a score?
Well, I want to get to Mikey. I haven't forgotten him.
Cool. Sorry, I was just trying to keep order here. No, I'm kidding.
There is no order.
There is no order. I'm gonna go with an 8.2.
Very nice.
That was the number that stuck in my head. Fun little nerd nugget, real quick. Chunk actually had the chicken pox the entire time they were filming.
Are you serious?
No, really?
Yeah. And
That's
actually, when
crazy.
you do the truffle shuffle, if you look real close, you can see a couple of them little speckles on his belly.
Well, I did not know that.
That's cool.
That is an interesting little tidbit. Mike Ippolito, what is your score for the Goonies?
I'm going to go way up with a 9. I love this movie.
Nice.
I know you said about the inconsistencies and the special effects, but you just got to keep the mindset. Back in those days, you just had to, you used what you had available.
Oh, yeah.
So that's,
It's
and if it goes
highly
back to-
impressive with what they did.
Yeah, for the times. I mean, you work with what you had, and you see a lot of these. You see a lot of the even now in the Goonies. If anybody's ever seen the show, the Goldbergs, they reference they dedicate an episode to finding treasure based exactly on the movie.
Amazing.
And on a side note, the creator of the Goldbergs, Adam F. Goldberg, is in talks with Richard Donner to get a sequel made for this movie.
Yay.
And he is a big 80s guy, so I think he'll do it right. Hopefully it comes together. I would love to see it.
That's cool. That's interesting.
Wow.
So we have a 7.8, 8.2, an 8.0, and a 9.0. I guess that average median is about an 8.6, maybe an 8.5 if you're rounding it out. Not bad for a PopX Retro Rewind score. You can definitely tell this is a classic right here. Yes. So stick around, guys. We got a lot more show here. We're going to touch base right quick on Falcon and the Winter Soldier very quickly. We're going to do a quick 5-minute spiel on it. Hopefully we can keep it within those range of 5 minutes. If not, I don't know, but we'll just go overtime. But I'm going to go ahead and roll the spoiler alert warning now. I'm going to apply this for both Falcon and the Winter Soldier and for Mortal Kombat. If you've not seen either, you might want to hit that pause button. Go enjoy those productions and come back and enjoy PopX Cast. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Danger. You are about to enter a PopX spoiler alert. Beyond this point, there is no return. You have been warned.
You have been warned. Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, when we recorded 2 weeks ago, we were literally just a few days shy of actually watching the finale of Falcon and Winter Soldier. And while we have an opportunity, we're just going to go ahead and just kind of seize that and give our last takes on it. Now, I want you guys to give me just a very quick synopsis, if you can, of what you thought about it. I want to go first. For me, I felt the story with the Flag Smashers specifically was very dry. I felt like the series could not figure out who the enemy was. It was like, is the enemy Carter? Is the enemy the Flag Smashers? Is the enemy John Walker? I just felt there was a lot of stuff going on there, and I know because of the pandemic, they specifically shot some scenes, and there's some footage out there, probably about 40 minutes worth. This was supposed to be a longer show than 6 episodes. There was a bomb went off, or some kind of bio weapon that was supposedly killed a lot of people, and it was a viral agent. Well, of course, that's extremely sensitive, and Disney can't release that in the middle of COVID-19 pandemic. So what happens is the Flag Smashers were kind of dwindled to just this group of rebels, just trying to, after the snap, after the blip, trying to rise up and become something better. And for me, because of that, the story got really mixed up and gobbled for me. And I had a real heart. I loved Bucky and Sam's interactions and their growth together as characters, together and separately. Love John Walker's growth, specifically from becoming kind of a hothead to becoming, all right, I need to do more with me and my character, and realizing his potential and his worth as John Walker and the U.S. agent. Overall, I have to... Zemo, I kind of felt Zemo, and I gave this in my Letterboxd review if you guys have already read it, but I felt that Zemo was dwindled down to nothing more than a Thor Ragnarok type character, where in Thor 1 and 2 we have more of a darker, more serious Thor, and we hit Thor Ragnarok and it's left with just jokes and puns. I kind of felt that was what they did with Zemo's character. They dwindled him down to jokes and puns, much like how Drax is as well to Guardians. And I just kind of, feel like Zemo in the comics is super intelligent, super cunning, and masterminds things that the Avengers don't see until way down the pipeline. It wasn't that in this. And I kind of felt like that's not the Zemo that I know from the comics, because he would go 15 volumes of a comic before Captain America even realized who the culprit was causing all the chaos, and it was Baron Zemo. In this, it was just like, oh, well, let's just do the dance in the club. And it just didn't, even though it's funny, seeing that character as serious as he was in Winter Soldier, translated to this, it's just like, oh, really? That's the service he gets? So I was a little disappointed by that. And with that said, I'm going to shut up and turn it over to Austin.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of your sentiments. I believe the Flag Smashers were the real just the thorn in my side watching this show.
It was.
There's something there, right? And you understand that there's so much more they could have done with these characters, but they're just essentially delegated to doing the thing, and we're gonna call in the people, and then we're gonna set up for this big thing. And every episode, we're gonna set up for this big thing, and then the final episode, we get the big thing. And okay, right? They give us someone to fight. It gives us a great moment with our new Captain America coming in, decked out in his armor, thanks to Wakanda. The wings, the shield looks incredible.
Oh, yeah.
And Bucky gets his moments, and John Walker gets his moments. And I really loved everything surrounding the Flag Smashers.
Yeah.
They were what kept me from loving the show, as well as Sharon Carter, whose purpose was to just be on the phone through most of the show
An
and then
antagonist.
show up and be the most obvious and predictable. She was kind of the person they were after, and everybody knew she was going to be.
Yeah.
I thought maybe a red herring.
She's a power broker. Yeah.
She's the power broker, but no, it turns out they just go the obvious route. So those two things aside, though, I do think there's a lot of great in this show.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
And even where they leave off, Joe, right, with the Zemo setting up for the Thunderbolts, with U.S. Agent now setting up for a route that he could go down. So many things will come out of this show, and I am 100% on board with Sam Wilson in his own movie, Captain America 4.
Heck yeah.
Give me that every day of the week, as well as our resolution that we got for... Can't think of his name off the bat. Older Captain America.
Oh, yeah,
at the
Isaiah
museum.
Bradley.
Isaiah.
Oh, my God. What a scene. I mean, we're talking emotion. Out of all the Marvel TV we've seen so far, that may be the most emotional moment that I've seen so far. So that was beautiful. Overall, a tiny bit disappointing, but I still really enjoyed the show, and I still can't wait to see more from a lot of these characters.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Lindsay Badger, what's your thoughts on the
All
finale?
right, so what both of you guys said, I know I'm going to do it quick because we got to keep moving on.
Right, yeah.
But all you guys said, plus a bag of chips, you nailed it on the bad guy, on the Zemo stuff. I think that there's more to Zemo that they are just saving for later. I think they're just putting a pin in him, and we're going to see a lot more of him in the future. So I don't feel like it's necessarily a waste. I just feel like we didn't get enough of him for this series that we necessarily personally wanted, but I think they did that on purpose.
Right.
There's some Feige looming in that.
Yeah.
Flag Smashers 100% agree they were a waste of space. I know that it was because of the pandemic that caused that, and it's really sad whenever the executive decisions overpower the creativity. So, I mean, you just have to work with what you have on that. I feel like the Bucky and Sam storyline fully started from beginning to end and had a very nice flushing out, and so I feel like I'm complete and satisfied with the way that the series ended as a whole. I loved the Isaiah Bradley thing and how we had that fantastic Captain America speech at the end that was very moving. I feel like we needed just a tiny bit more Bucky in the finale than what we actually got. The secret agent reveal was very predictable because we knew Val was there, and also the power broker was very obvious as well.
Yes.
Overall, I enjoyed the series as a whole. So
nice. Mr. Mike Ippolito, thoughts on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier finale?
I'll be quick because pretty much everybody covered just about kind of everything that I was thinking of. Just to me, I felt like everything was rushed into the last episode. It was like it had a pace going into episode 5 and then 6, like everything was just crammed together at once, where he got the new suit was almost like halfway through the episode. You know, they could have introduced that sooner, but again, unfortunately, this show was a victim of the pandemic, and I think it really suffered. Maybe they should have, you know, held off on this show and pushed it ahead on the schedule, or, you know, that might have been an idea. But unfortunately, to me, it wasn't like when WandaVision was on, it was like I was looking forward to every week that it was, as soon as it would drop, I'd try to watch as soon as I can. This I kind of was like, I'll get to it. I just watched the last 2 episodes the other day. So I just finally got to finish it, and it just wasn't there. And it's a shame because, you know, Sam Wilson, Bucky, those are 2, you know, high up characters in the Avengers, and they got kind of shafted on this show a little bit because of because of the situation, which you can't do nothing about.
Right. Yeah, I echo everything. I think, you know, just to kind of round it out, I don't feel that Sharon Carter's character was extremely fleshed out very well. I know that she is a product of the blip, and she brokered these famous works of arts and these high sought-out value items and kind of stole them from the people that owned them, essentially, because they blipped out of existence for 5 years. But I wish we had more of the why in what she's doing. And there was none of that was explained. And like you said, she's on the phone most of the time, walking around.
Maybe they're saving her for later as well.
I don't know.
She needs her own spin-off series.
But specifically in this show, I don't even know what her purpose was, really. I mean, yeah, she was funding the Flag Smashers and doing all of this, but was she really needed in the show? I don't really know, because I mean, she really had no antagonist whatsoever.
That was their underworld contact to get some information. That could have just been the one appearance and be done.
They could have done it with the one guy that was what's that guy's name? The dude that's got the cauliflower hair. I can't remember his name.
Oh yeah,
I can't remember.
I can't think.
Shoot. Anyway, you know who I'm talking about. Anyway, long story short, there was some definite villain issues, whereas in WandaVision we got a very clear, concise villain. We got a proper setup, proper delivery, a proper end-stage battle, you know, and it felt very cohesive. In this one, the pandemic did destroy and convolute, I say that word a lot tonight, the storyline. And it did affect it. Let's give our score, and we'll go on into Mortal Kombat. I'm going to give this a 6.9. You know, probably I would have went higher to a 7, but I enjoyed the whole story arc with Bucky and Sam. Enjoyed John Walker. Partially enjoyed Zemo, of them just kind of like, what is he doing? But I really love to see Sam's growth as a man, as a hero, and as a character. And for me, that is definitely the limelight. Austin?
I'm going 7.2. Again, I really wanted it to be higher. I did. The things that I enjoyed really stick out, especially one thing I didn't mention, the score, bringing back in the themes from Winter Soldier and Civil War, outstanding. So for me, it's a 7.2. Still a good score, though.
Yeah. Lindsay?
I'm doing a 7.4.
A 7.4. Okay, nice.
So, yeah, I mean, it was still a good ride. There was obvious problems, but overall, it was still an enjoyable series. I think it plays a very vital role in the overall story of the MCU, so I enjoyed it.
Mike?
I'm just going to go with a 7.
7?
It just was too many characters in a short amount of time, and unfortunately, the situation we're in kind of caused this show to suffer.
Yeah. I I agree. I'm looking at the chat. Gasp. Joe's so mean in the chat room.
So mean.
I'm not mean. I'm just
He's
like,
the
I
sweetest
just
teddy
can't.
bear
I
ever.
can't do it. Now, how many of us in here can agree that the last episode felt like 3 episodes and one slammed into a 50-minute?
It was definitely
It was a lot.
Concentrated.
It was a lot.
I will also say this, as I think WandaVision is clearly the better show here. As good as I like that show, I will also say there were some disappointing things in that finale as well. Ralph Boner, right? I don't know if Marvel has completely nailed a finale to any of their shows yet. We'll see what Loki brings, but we'll just have to see.
Glad we didn't get a boner joke in this one. Alrighty, so moving on here, let's go ahead and talk Mortal Kombat.
All right.
Oh my gosh, dude. So I didn't get a chance to go see this cinematically. I got to see it on HBO Max. And I have to tell you, kind of eye-opening. There were some moments and some scenes and some story in this film that has had me like, okay, I can get on with this. You know, right off the bat, we are at the Citadel or the camp of Scorpion, who becomes Scorpion, and I can't even begin to pronounce his actual clan name. I know that the Lin Kuei and the Shiryu, I know those 2 names, but you see the story from the eyes of Scorpion, and I think if you agree, even going back to the 1993 original Mortal Kombat arcade stand-up, Scorpion was always one of the fan favorites because everybody loved the Get Over Here, right? And so I'm kind of glad that they focused, that the story is evolved around these 2 mythical figures and people and clans that have been at battle with each other for centuries. I loved that aspect of this because they gave it immediately some kind of a heart. There's some kind of sacrifice involved, especially when we see what happens to his family. But I love the story. I love the buildup of each character. We get plenty of time, I think, with each character. And for me, I think that overall, the setup, this movie is a setup for the next 3 to come.
Yes.
I don't know if a lot of people realize that. The biggest question I got out of this movie is, well, why wasn't there no tournament? Where's the Mortal Kombat without the tournament? And this movie is a tester for Warner Brothers to see how the next 3 years going to go. And this movie was extremely successful for the most part. And so Austin, share with me, you know, maybe some of the success if you know any numbers or if you know how it did at the box office, or I ain't gonna put you on the spot, but just overall, what were some of your thoughts and stuff as well?
Yeah, box office wise, I believe it did okay circumstantially, but in terms of the actual day release numbers, I think this was actually just that day. I think it was actually higher than Godzilla vs. Kong.
Whoa.
Which was considered, now we have to see how the next 5 to 10 days were. I didn't look into that, but just off the bat, I mean, that's pretty incredible, right?
Yeah.
And it's almost like Mortal Kombat is the perfect movie to watch. And don't get me wrong, I'd love to watch this on the big screen.
Yeah.
I had a digital screener, so I watched it that way. But it almost works really well because I don't think they nailed this film. I think the acting is off. I didn't love our new character that they kind of invented for this. But like you said, Joe, they're really just kind of testing the waters for future films. And later on, we're going to get that tournament. Now, at a point in this film, I was kind of questioning some of those things, and the story did drop off for me. But then we start getting into the action.
Yeah.
The bloody battles, the brutality, and what people love about Mortal Kombat, and factoring in that opening scene, which I thought was incredible. That for me is what took it over that positive threshold. That for me is what, when I sat back and said, it does feel like they really know Mortal Kombat, and it does feel like they really know what fans want. Now, I am holding out hope that the next movie will maybe improve on some things, but overall, I had a very entertaining time while watching this film, and I think that's the best thing you can expect. And I think fans of Mortal Kombat, a couple of lore things aside, are really going to enjoy the brutality and the blood and gore of it all. And I thought that was really good choreography as well.
Yeah, good choreography. I couldn't agree, though. There was a couple of characters that kind of felt like
off.
Yeah, especially the off-world characters. I think his name's Tiara, the one that kind of like had the wings and was flying around, and then you had that one general guy with the hammer, kind of looked like Shao Kahn. I was like, all right, so are you the red shirt guys on the Star Trek deck? Are you going to die soon? You know, I was like, what is going on here? It's Lindsay Badger, Mortal Kombat. What? Get over here.
Boys, I don't want to shatter your childhood dreams, but
No, you shatter it. I don't care.
Hit me.
Hit me.
I did not like this movie.
Hey, you're not alone.
Okay,
A lot of
so-
critics did not like it either, Lindsay.
Okay, so let's I was on board with it up until we got to the temple, and then it was like a hard fall. I literally started dozing off and wondering if it was over yet.
Oh, boy.
Because it was just losing me. I really enjoyed the introduction of the characters and the way they portrayed their special features and all of their things was really cool and really well done, but the story just was very much lacking for me.
Yeah.
It was very much fan service the entire way through. They were shoehorning all of the iconic, the get over here's and finish hims and all of the one-liners from the video game. They were like forcing it down the throats of the viewers, and it just was kind of cringy.
Yeah.
I will say a positive. I absolutely loved the soundtrack, though. It's very synthy. It's very, harkens back to the time when the original video game came out, and so I was all about that. I just couldn't commit to enjoying this because it was just choppy and kind of all over the place for me, and I couldn't invest my emotions into the main character because he didn't even know who the hell he was until like the last 10 minutes of the movie, and I'm like, really? Can we like move on? It was constantly like, let's chase him over here and let's chase him over there and let's chase him over here, and I'm like, are you just trying to fill time? It was really, I wanted to see more of the off-Earth worlds were a lot more entertaining to me than the little temple stuck in the middle of the desert where they were just like the team that sucks and it's getting beat up by the same guy over and over again, and I was just dozing really quickly, and my husband was like, are you awake? I'm like, and yes,
She's reading the chat.
I was like, yeah, I've played the game. No, I'm not obsessed with the game. It's not like my favorite game ever. I've seen the old movies. So, I mean, I kind of knew going into it what I was going to get, but I was just like, I was hoping for something a little bit more engaging.
Gravitas, yeah.
Yeah.
It's something, though, I mean, I have to kind of agree with Lindsay on one aspect of it. The whole, I wasn't on board with what they call the arcana, which is how they discovered their abilities. Cinematically, it might be a great way to introduce each individual's power, but we're Mortal Kombat. We're already in the world of science fiction. We're already in the world of a soul going to hell and coming back from hell. You know what I'm saying? So right there, out of the gate, you have science fiction. Why need to explain how each person got their powers? And so specifically for me, that was just kind of like, I don't know. And Cole's character as an antagonist to unlock Scorpion, kind of felt that was a little, the writing was not that good. But I do want to touch base with Mike Ippolito down here. Mike, did you get a chance to watch Mortal Kombat? And if you did,
I just watched it the other day, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
I know we were coming up on. I've been wanting to watch it. It started off, the introduction. I got a little confused because I know it was Raiden that took the little girl, and then all of a sudden they time jump to this guy that's a fighter, and I'm going, okay, where does this fit in? And it wasn't until towards the end of the movie where they turned around and said, well, he's like the third generation bloodline. Okay, I'm going, okay, well, now you should have mentioned that earlier. That would have been helpful. I like the way they laid out the characters and how the similarity to the video game was there. Raiden with the eyes and Sub-Zero and all that. I'm not too familiar with all the characters, but overall, I can see now that this would be like Austin said, it'd be a test movie to see how people would react to it and bring in the next two movies. And I'd look forward to. I'd watch the other two, just curious. And even if you've never really played the video game, and they kind of, they explained who the characters were in a sense, so you kind of can figure out the movie if you've never played the game. But overall, I thought it was real good, and the visuals were very good. It kind of matches the blood and gore of the video game.
Yeah.
And I think my favorite scene, which was I think they showed in the trailers, where the blood comes off a Scorpion, Sub-Zero grabs it and he freezes it and he stabs him with it.
Yeah, that was pretty
I thought
awesome.
that goes right towards the game.
Yes, it does.
But overall, Kano was getting on my nerves, and they had to take him out finally. That was he was just like being, I guess I don't know too much about that character from the game. If he's that belligerent, they're all sitting at the table eating, and they just blasting one another.
Yeah,
it's that laser beam. I'm going, okay, this ain't gonna last too long. But overall, I thought it was it was done fairly well, and I'd like to see what they do next with it.
I was actually really happy that they showed Reptile this time, because in the previous movies, we got, if you go back to 1995, I believe 94's version of it, it was like we saw Reptile, but we only saw like a little silhouette of him, and then we had a fight with him, but we didn't get to see his reptile form, I don't think, if I'm not mistaken, and it was just, I'm glad that we got to actually see the reptilian, and called by his actual reptile name. I don't know if you guys picked up on that, but they were calling the characters by their actual names from the video game. This movie felt like if Mortal Kombat 11 come to life, the video game. It felt like, actually, I reinstalled Mortal Kombat 11 on my PS5 because I got a free PS5 HD update. And so I'm able to play it in stunning 4K. Get over here. But it felt like the movie did feel aesthetically like Mortal Kombat 11 jumped out of the video game and into the cinema. Some of the mechanics that they used along the way didn't necessarily work. I don't think introducing the new character Cole, I think they could have probably have used another existing character in the Mortal Kombat universe to kind of be that antagonist. And the Arcana, as the way in which they all discovered their powers, kind of didn't agree with that, because Kano has always had his powers, and Sonya and all of these. And so, you're living in a world of science fiction, and we don't really need to explain how they got their powers, because if you're a fan of Mortal Kombat and you play the video game, you already know, up, you're going to get some toasty. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say. I did enjoy the film, though. All of that aside.
Yes.
The graphics, the visuals, the gore. I love the first 15 minutes opening between the Lin Kuei and the Shiryu. I love that whole scene with Scorpion and just the loss of his family, and the gravity of his loss being the antagonist for him to come back.
We needed more of that.
More of that.
Yeah, I agree.
More of that.
If the whole movie was like that, I would love it.
If we would have had that extended and more Outworld and less Earth, because all we saw of Outworld was like Thanos' throne. That's all we saw. It looked like Thanos' throne. I'm like, okay, well, where's the big, where's the ball sack chin act? I'm waiting for him to come out. But all that aside.
Well, I do want to say, though, so I normally do not like when you get that amount of cheese in a movie like this, right? Because it got really cheesy with the lines and stuff. But then I think I'm like, Avengers Endgame gave us a lot of fan service.
Yes, it did.
I think Mortal Kombat's allowed to give that kind of fan service.
Oh, it was shoehorned in every crack they could find.
Yeah,
it was, but I don't know. To me, it didn't necessarily feel, because again, you could say the same thing like, Cap and the Hammer and, all these different lines in Endgame. And sure, there was a well-warranted build-up for that, and I'm not a hardcore Mortal Kombat fan, so I didn't care as much, right? But I could see somebody that's like hardcore Mortal Kombat fan just hearing that and going, oh, and I think that's what they were counting on, right? Again, I didn't feel it, but I could see how others would feel it. And that, I look at that and I'm kind of like, all right, if you apply that to maybe a better story and a better script, I think we've got something. We've got something. So hopefully the next movie, I hope they can do it.
I have to agree with you 1,000%. And just for the record, aside from a couple of the RPG games that was released on like N64 back in the day, they had some first world. I have every side-scrolling Mortal Kombat fighting game ever made.
Wow.
And so that all goes all the way back to the original that was released on SNES, the Genesis. I have the Mortal Kombat Arcade Collection that I purchased in the PlayStation 5 store, which is actually Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3, and 3 Ultimate. So I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan. Always have been. So I am invested in the story. I am invested in the characters. I do understand what's going on. And I think it's because, I'll just be real, I know a lot about it. And there was some unfamiliarity to me from between the translation of the film and the comic canon.
Yeah.
And the game canon. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm like, I wasn't expecting something called the Arcana to just come out of existence that has not been.
And I feel like there has to be a little bit, for being an intro to, especially to a trilogy, you have to have a little bit of explanation for people that don't know anything about Mortal Kombat. So they have a little bit of an introduction into what the heck world are they stepping into, you know? And I don't feel like there was a lot of that there.
In the chat, specifically, I want to address Mike Rolane. He said, next movie, Noob. We want Noob. Well, Mike, if you go back to the scene where Sub-Zero approaches Shang Tsung's throne, he is actually Noob Saibot. Because his costume is completely black. So if you look at the actor's credits, he is credited for playing both Sub-Zero and Noob Saibot. So there you go.
I don't know how accurate the box office numbers are on the Google search, but it says it's 50.1 million.
Okay,
and the budget was 55.
Okay. Well, listen, for pandemic times, I don't think that's that bad. I don't, because the jump on HBO Max viewership was so high compared to Wonder Woman. I mean, it outdid Wonder Woman 1980. So, you know, it's not great, obviously, but we're just living in times where you can't look at that like we used to, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's very tough too.
And Austin, you were going to say something before.
Sorry.
I just wanted to make sure that we got your thought there.
No, you all are fine. You're fine, Lindsay. I was just going to ask, who do you guys want to play Johnny Cage in the sequel? Do you have any people in mind? I saw that.
Ryan Reynolds.
I liked it.
I want Ryan Reynolds.
I could see that happening.
I could see that.
I could too.
I like it.
I do too. I think it would be good. Yeah. That's probably my top choice. Or just some unknown. Just give me an unknown, and because people know who Johnny Cage is, you can work that character out that way. But if not, I think Ryan Reynolds would be perfect.
All right, well, let's give it our official review. All right, so summarizing it up, it's a great film. It's highly entertaining. If you're a fan of Mortal Kombat video games, you're going to freaking love this movie. This is going to be like a lot of fan service for you. And there are issues with the story, and we are picking it apart. We're being that way because that's what we do. Specifically Austin, that's what he does for a living, essentially. But I get to talk about it because I'm just a big fan of video games, per se. So,
yes.
But this is a great ride, and it is a great ride. And I'm going to actually lead out the score. Austin, why don't you lead the score? You're the film critic here.
Yeah. So, I mean, off the bat, anything that's a score like this, I know it sounds low, but a 60 and higher is a positive score. I'm going a 64. I was actually a bit higher on the critical landscape, but I'm going a 64 because, again, you look at entertainment factor, and I just think it's there, right? I think it hits all of those levels, and I think, that extra notch for me is it goes out to all the Mortal Kombat fans out there, and I'm excited to see more. I genuinely am.
Lindsay Badger.
I know you said it's a good movie. I'm going to say it's a mediocre movie at best.
Okay.
It has some exciting points in it, but I will not be rewatching this movie. We're going with a 4.8.
Oof. Ooh. Mike Ippolito.
Overall, I thought it was quite entertaining. It was a happy movie.
It was a happy movie. It's a nice walk down the old lane there.
But I'm going to go with 7. There could have been, some better aspects to it. But I'm looking forward to see what they do next. I'm like the second, if they're going to go, definitely going to go forward with the second and third. And I'm sure it'll pick up, from there. Because as this was like to see fan reaction, I think this was pretty good.
I want to stay consistent with my letterbox. Because the night that I watched this, I did a letterbox review. And I'm going to go blow all your all score out of the water. Hold your hearts. 7.9. And the reason I gave it a 7.9 is because of just a lot of that fan service and that opening 15-20 minutes with the Shiryu and the Lin Kuei clans. That was just, oh gosh, if you played any of the video games, you know that it's just like, holy cow, you're hearkening back to some OG canon right there.
Yes.
And I enjoyed it. I ate it up. Yeah, I have problems with it. But overall, this is a beautiful film to watch. You know, there's some great cinematography shots. There's some great CGI action shots. And it's just a great one all around. So I'm going to go with 7.9. So we got a 7.9. Austin get a 7.
6.4.
6.4. We got Lindsay Badger with a 4.8. And then Mike with a
7.
7. Not bad. Not bad.
It's really not.
Yeah. No, it's okay, Lindsay. We still love you.
Well, and Lindsay, that's the thing. I'm not even going to say you're in the minority because, again, there's a lot of people that feel the same way.
It just didn't resonate with me.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's why we have you on board because,
I didn't
honestly,
hate it.
yeah, we don't want a freaking sausage fest up on PopX.
No.
We got to have some kind of perspective here eventually. But, man, we have had a jam-packed episode. We're coming up. We're about 12 minutes over the hour right now. This has been non-stop talking about geeky stuff. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this episode 121 of PopX Cast. And I tell you, man, this has just been a fun one. So we talked Goonies, we talked Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and we talked Mortal Kombat. Yeah. This has been fun. Holy cow. Austin Burke, are you ready to wrap this thing up, buddy?
I like rapping.
Rapping is fun.
I can rap. Let's rap.
Let's do it.
Hey, no, I'm Austin Burke at the Burkinator. Just search and find me. Also, we are part of the newly formed creative group known as the Creative Multiverse. For more great media content, artwork, and more, you guys can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and around the corner at the Creative Multiverse. If you are a creative, produce content, or have a talent, we want to see it and would like for you guys to share it with us in the multiverse. So go on over there, share whatever you have, as long as it's legal.
Which corner was it around?
As long as it's legal.
Any corner.
Just walk around the corner.
As long as it's legal.
Yeah, share it. Now, if you have illegal things, don't share them. But if you have legal things, please share them.
Keep those on your own personal page.
On here.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Or send them to me.
Jeez.
Well, PopX is also on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, and everywhere else on the internets, all at the handle at PopXcast. You can send comments and suggestions to us by email if you so wish, popxcast@gmail.com. And also for future and past shows, visit our official website, www.popxcast.com.
Oh, yes. And you know what, guys? This has been such a jam-packed episode, and I'm so glad you guys are able to join us along the ride. I don't know if you've noticed, but we've actually, a lot of our videos that we went back and we have timelines now. So if there's a specific segment that you want to go back and revisit, well, you can actually do that now. We have time signature codes on all of our shows from the past 12 shows back. So if you want to go back and listen to the news, or you want to go back and revisit one of the retro rewinds, you just click it. Boom, you're right there. And so I'm Joseph Burke at Joseph Burke Arts all over the interwebs and social media. And, of course, hats off, as always, to the amazing, amazing, talented Team PopX. You guys complete me. You complete me. There's no graphic this time from Mike. I'm sad. Usually when I say from Team PopX, he does some kind of fun graphic, but there's no graphic.
I love
Hello, darkness, my old
Finish it.
friend.
I just
I'm
love
so
it.
sad. Anyway, we'll see you next time on episode 122. Get in. We're going to have another jam-packed episode. Get this. We'll be talking Invincible. We'll be talking Jupiter's Legacy. And 1989 Tim Burton's Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Oh, my God.
She said it.
She said it. Are you ready to visit the Maitlands? Yeah, I'm the goes with the most, babe. No, you got the Maitland. Yeah.
I sound more like Sling Blade.
French fried taters.
French fried taters, mustard, and biscuits. I like it, you know what I'm saying? I shouldn't be doing that.
I think he did that on purpose in the movie.
I don't know what's going on.
We can research that and get back to you next week.
We
or
can.
next time. It's not next week. It's 2 weeks.
We can. And, since Austin danced us out the last episode.
Yeah, of course.
We're going to have Austin.
Was he going to do Jedi mind tricks for our outro?
So we're going to crank up the music here. And we're going to have Austin dance us out on this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 121. Wrapping it up on this May the 4th be with you. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Austin Burke.
Have a good night, everybody.
You dig it with it.
Can I kick it?
What is happening? Alright guys, we are out of here. Austin Burke in the house. You guys take care. We'll see you next time. Right here. He's still going. Somebody stop this foot.
From everyone at PopXcast, thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and click that notification bell so you know when we go live next. Drop us an email, popxcast@gmail.com. Throw us up a like on Instagram and all those other social media outlets at PopXcast. Until next time.
Oh my god, man. I'm just gonna leave the stream on.